Check out these gorgeous fall DIYs that I have done in this video for you guys. I am just so excited to bring y'all my very new series. I have a massive craft fair coming up November 1st, November 2nd, November 3rd. I have been busy, and I want to show you all what I have been up to. So we're gonna start off with this gorgeous sunflower centerpiece. I'm not entirely sure where I got the idea from. I did make something similar with like gingerbread a few months ago, and I thought, how can I make it more fall? Because gingerbread doesn't usually go with fall, but I really wanted to make a fall version of this, and this is what I came up with. The tube I have is not a paper towel roll, it's a lot sturdier. It's actually from my mom's vacuum seal bags that she uses, and she saves these for me, and I love to use them in this way because they're very sturdy, much sturdier than your average paper towel roll. And I'm simply wrapping it with some fabric that I had left over from last year. And all I'm doing is just giving it a strip of hot glue, rolling it on there, and then once I have it attached, I do another bit of hot glue, roll it again, and that's it. Now you can also do this with paper. You can do this with ribbon, but this is what I had on hand. And if you can't get your hands on a really heavy duty, sturdy roll, cardboard roll like the one I have, you can use a thick wooden dowel. You could even use a regular rectangular piece of wood. It will look slightly different, but you can still get the same effect, and it'll be really cute as long as you dress it up nicely. Now right here I am gluing my pole to this wood slice that I had, and I'm securing it with, I used wood glue and I used hot glue. Now I am going around the base to secure it, and I wrap that to hide the hot glue. I wrap that with some nautical rope that I got from Dollar Tree. Is the fun part. I'm going through my fall picks. Now all of these fall picks that I have actually came from Dollar Tree. Surprise, surprise, the one near me actually had some really decent ones, which is very rare for me, but I managed to find some really beautiful sunflowers and little berries and stuff, so that is what I decided to use. Obviously this is left up for interpretation. You could do leaves, you could do I believe they had mums instead of sunflowers. It is really entirely up to you. And I do apologize for this angle. I know it was not the best angle. I do try switching it up a little bit momentarily, but yeah, it wasn't the greatest. And right here, I just took a piece of plastic that I had nearby, and I covered it in hot glue and just shoved it down into that hole just so I could have something that would anchor the sunflowers and the other picks that I planned on sticking up there. I didn't just want them just kind of flailing all over the place. I wanted them to stay as secure as possible. And yes, I know my table's a mess, but I'm a crafter, okay? So, off my back, okay? Off my back. I'm one of those cluttered kind of crafters where my table will look a hot mess until I finish, all right? So just, leave me alone. So after deciding on what sign to use, I simply just use these faux leather words to say blessed. And I got this in a 4-pack from Dollar Tree. Pretty much everything I used was from Dollar Tree except my fabric, which you can find at Dollar Tree, and the wood slat, which I do believe you can find those at Dollar Tree as well. So this can be 100% Dollar Tree, which is why I included it in this video. But I just use everything that I happen to have on hand. And a little trick, if you're not used to doing like little floral arrangements or stuff like this, start with your big pieces first and then implement your little pieces and bits and bobs here and there. That's how I like to do it, and I think it is the easiest way to go about something like this.
Hold on, I'm trying to finish this video.
I was just so happy with how this turned out. It is absolutely gorgeous. Put it on your table near your foyer or in the middle of your dining table. It is going to be gorgeous either way. All right, so on to DIY number 2. We will be using these wood blocks from Dollar Tree to make little pumpkins. I loved them so much when they were done. You just turn them on their side and add a little stem up top, and it came out perfect. I was super excited about these. So I started by mixing up white with melted chocolate paint because I wanted a specific color and I just could not get it to look the way I wanted to. So I went ahead and painted the edges with it and then added some milk chocolate by itself, and that gave me the effect that I wanted. And once I finished doing all of the edges of both blocks, I wiped wiped off the excess paint with a paper towel. And after doing that with both blocks, I start playing around with my scrap fabric. I got these scrap fabrics from my mom. She got them from Hobby Lobby last year, I believe. And I'm just looking at each one, deciding what little scene I want to use. And I simply cut them out and glue them down using Mod Podge. You can also do this exact same thing using scrap paper. So you don't have to be limited to buying fabric. You can absolutely do this with some scrap paper as well. You can also go online and pick a picture and print it to size, cut it out, and slap it on there too. It is really, you really don't have to get fancy with it. So when using fabric, I like to put a very generous layer of Mod Podge down and then lay my fabric on top of that, let it dry, and then put another very generous layer of Mod Podge on top of that. If you're using paper, definitely keep your layers of Mod Podge much thinner, otherwise you'll end up having to deal with bubbles and you don't want that. I did make them double-sided, so it doesn't matter where you put them. If you put them in the middle of the table or the middle of a counter and you can see it from both angles, you will be able to see something really cute on both sides. So I cut off any excess, as much excess as I can, and then I go in with my sander and sand the edges to clean them up a bit. And I also ended up sanding off some of the paint, which I actually ended up really liking, so I decided to leave it instead of trying to repaint it. But I would do this exact same method using paper as well. Now, once we have the edges all sanded, I'm going to take some nautical rope and make my stem. Now, again, this is left up to interpretation. It's however you want to do it. You can go outside and get some sticks and glue them on there, or drill a hole and kind of, stick them in there. Or you can buy some. I know Dollar Tree has some short branch pieces you could use, but I really wanted to do this using nautical rope because I just love the way it looks. I love the way it looks, and it's a little tedious, but because you have to hold it while the glue dries, the glue cools. But it came out so rustic looking and so cute. All right, so while I am putting these stems on these pumpkins, I thought I would just pop in and talk to you guys a little bit about what I've been doing. So I have this huge craft fair coming up November 1st, November 2nd, November 3rd. And this is the biggest one of the year. If anybody doesn't know, I live in Las Vegas, and it is really, really massive, this craft fair. And they do it twice a year in this location, but obviously the Christmas one is always the absolute biggest and busiest. And I've done this show before, but I did it with my mother. It was her show essentially, and I was just kind of, there. But this time I am setting up this booth. I am running this booth all by myself, and I've been a nervous wreck, okay? So trying to get ready for this has been just crazy. I've been working day in and day out to get this stuff together. So all these videos for the next several weeks in this series will be things that I took to this craft fair with me. I will let you all know, if anybody is interested, that is, like what I charged, and then after those 3 days, I'll let you all know what sold, what didn't sell, or if I ended up adjusting prices, stuff like that. This is very different than not too different because I'm always crafting, but this kind of video where it's for something this specific, as a craft fair, and giving you guys prices and stuff like that is a little bit out of my element, but I'm really excited to share it with you guys because I'm personally proud of these things that I've made. I hope they sell. I had a couple of smaller craft fairs that I did this year. It was my first time really just kind of getting out there on my own. Usually, like I said, usually I would do it with my mom, and now I'm doing it myself. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm really excited at the same time. I have sold some things and people are just like, oh my God, the stuff you make is so cute. So I'm excited. And I can't wait to, I will bring you guys along. I will have a bit of a vlog for when I get there and setting up and stuff like that. So once my makeshift stems are completely cooled and I know they're not going to go anywhere, I start to decorate using um, fabric scraps. I use a little bit of raffia and just a little bits of bobs to make it look pretty. And I absolutely adored how these came out. Like I said, they're double-sided, so I decided to put a little bit of something on one side of the stem and then on the other. That way, from either angle, you will always get a really pretty effect. cute they are. I am so proud of these. I, I think I'm probably gonna have to make a couple more for myself. And on to the next. I found this big pumpkin sign at Dollar Tree, of course, and we are going to turn it into something that looks way more high end. Now, I was a little bit messy with this one. I know that somebody can do it better. You can see what I did. There was a couple of mistakes made, but the end result is gorgeous. Do you understand me? Gorgeous. Okay. So, um, I end up using two types of scrapbook paper. Well, actually, one of them is a sheet of burlap. The other one is a beautiful scrap paper. And obviously, I start off by peeling off most of this orange stuff just because I knew that the burlap, you'd be able to see through it, and I wanted to not have that bright orange color showing through. So what I ended up doing, which made things a bit harder on myself, was I kind of just eyeballed um, where I needed to cut. So I ended up cutting a little bit short. It came out just fine in the end, but yeah, I eyeballed it. Now, if you're better at eyeballing, then by all means, do you, girl. But me, I probably should have measured and, all that stuff. But like I said, it did come out really, really good in the end. So I know y'all probably gonna watch this and be like, what the hell is she doing? You know what? Just give me a chance, okay? Give me a chance. Just bear with me, okay? I promise the end result is so pretty. Now, remember what I said about using Mod Podge. When you're using fabric, lay a nice thick layer. But when you're using paper, even a thicker paper, just make sure you're not using too much. Try to make keep your layer thin because you don't want it to bubble your paper. I've done that a million times. You can use a glue stick if you want. I personally don't like to use glue sticks. I just feel like it just doesn't stick well enough for me. But whatever works for you, by all means, do you. Okay, and here I go again with the eyeballing and just don't mind me. I am positive there's got to be a better way to do this project than what I was doing, because this was the struggle way. Okay, this is definitely the struggle way. So I needed it to be darker behind the burlap. I did not like the way it looked, so I just decided to go in with this melted chocolate acrylic paint from Apple Barrel, Walmart. And it wasn't, a perfect paint job, but just enough to darken it a bit. And it ended up doing just fine. But you might not even need to bother with this part, because it depends on what kind of paper you use. If you use opaque paper, all the way through, then you can skip this step, obviously. But since I was using burlap, you can see through it, so I had to do that. And it annoyed me. I just annoyed myself this whole time. Look at this. This is the absolute definition of trust the process, because what is that supposed to be? And because I did not want the glue oozing all out through the top of the burlap, I am using hot glue on the corners only of my burlap. That was the best way I could think of to avoid just a big old blob of Mod Podge. So right before I go to sanding, I am just using my X-Acto knife. I use my scissors just to cut it down as close as possible. I just wanted to get as close as I could, because I really didn't want to sand this at all. I did not want to sand this at all, you guys. But I used my X-Acto knife, and it did help quite a bit. so this right here with the nautical rope trim, this was a last ditch effort to make this look good because I almost scrapped it. And I was like, there's got to be something, because it didn't come out the way I saw it in my head, because I was, eyeballing the cuts and I messed up the cuts. But once I glued this nautical rope around and all the borders, I was like, okay, oh my gosh, this is too cute. I was so happy with the finished result. Like I said, trust the process. Trust the process. Apologies for being a bit out of frame, but I'm just making a simple bow using my twine because I love twine bows. And I glue a little bit of lace around the middle of the bow just because I felt like it needed just a little something extra. Now, these little flower stickers are actually from Hobby Lobby, but Dollar Tree has many sunflower picks that you could use to make this a complete Dollar Tree project. You don't need to have these stickers to get the same effect. And I also end up using one of those faux leather words. I use the blessed one. It comes in a 4-pack from Dollar Tree, and there's 2 blessed and there's 2 grateful. I thought it was 4 different words, but no, just 2 grateful and 2 blessed. And here I use my second blessed, and look at how it came out. I am in love. Okay, we are at our final fall Dollar Tree DIY project, and I love how this one. I love how all my projects come out. I wouldn't show y'all if I didn't love it. If I didn't love it, I would just scrap the video. But I popped these two off, and when I realized it was actually stapled, I thought they were glued together. I didn't realize they were stapled together. I was kind of like, oh crap, what do I do? Should I pull this off of the tall pumpkin? But I didn't want to risk cracking the pumpkin. You can see the staples from that side. So I decided I was going to have to work around it, and it wasn't too hard to do. So after sitting there for a few minutes, I asked my mom her opinion, and I just kind of contemplating a little bit what I wanted to do with these pumpkins. I finally came to the conclusion that I wanted to use this scrap paper that I had instead of this fabric. So starting with the little one that sits up front, we're going to add this gingham scrap paper. I'm so happy I had just enough to cover this pumpkin, and it came out adorable. And the big one will be covered with the denim looking one, which I thought was really, really cute together. Now, since I did not want to try to remove that wooden slat, I knew I was going to have to work around it. So all I did was push the paper, just laid the paper on top of the pumpkin, and just used my finger to kind of push around that wood slat, so I had a general idea of where I needed to cut. I didn't need to, it didn't, this part did not need to be perfect, but I just wanted to make sure that everything that is exposed is completely covered. But the rest of it will be behind the other pumpkins, so an exact cut just, it wasn't necessary. And again, we are going in with a thin layer of Mod Podge. I was a little heavy-handed this time around, but we got there in the end. from Dollar Tree. These are come in a 6-pack. I've used one already. That's why you see there's only 5 left. And I decide on the Hello Fall, which I thought was super cute. And I take the white and the melted chocolate, both apple barrel paints, and I do a base coat of white and then just kind of dry brush the brown over the top to give it a dusty, distressed kind of look. And again, we are at my least favorite part. It is the sanding, but it is necessary to get those edges nice and sharp and crisp. after sealing it in with another layer of Mod Podge, I use matte Mod Podge because I do not like the glossy finish stuff. I once it's all dry, I go ahead and use a bit of wood glue and hot glue to add my words, and then I do the exact same combination to attach the little pumpkin back to the front of the taller pumpkin. But just now, I just remembered, of course, obviously, before I attached them, I had to add a bit of twine to the stems because I can't help myself. I love twine. I love the way this looks. So I added a bit to both pumpkins. Now, once they both got their new stems, like I said, I am using the combination of Gorilla Hot Glue and Gorilla Wood Glue to attach the small pumpkin to the front of the taller pumpkin, and then add a few more embellishments. And this is what it turned out like. I am just loving how simple this is, but how rustic and farmhousey. I'm a city girl, but I love a good farmhouse moment, okay? And if you have not yet already, please join our royal family. Subscribe, okay? Let me know what y'all think about these, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.